eh. So we're back in the realm of Fallout New Vegas, or Fallout 4, I mean. Full. So, yeah. I'm sorry if you guys been busy, like, going, what the hell, I don't know what the just with. So, yeah. I've been having to deal with crap, with other things, so you're just gonna, unfortunately, deal with it, and I am sorry, yeah, so, we'll give this, catch here. Anyway, yeah, so welcome back to Fallout 4. This will probably be the last time I try to stream this game, mainly because it's just proving to be just being annoying just to get done. So yeah, we have a little bit of HUD over the right one on that one, it's the only black one, I quite like the black ones. Yeah, so what was I doing? Something. Yeah, so I got mods working, I got the things working. It's just that we're gonna have to not use, as you can see, the Daddy thing has, Daddy-O Extreme has worn off, so, we're gonna keep that off, for now, because I don't really want to go through the same crap again as we just did, so, yay. Oh yeah, so I'm going to be doing this. That's fun. So we'll play a bit of Fallout 4 for a bit, and then I will do some other stuff along the way. And yeah, so Christmas. Holy crap! Did that catch me off guard? Christmas is a week away. It's just over a week away, and I'm like, oh my goodness me. I wasn't expecting it because, you know, I've been busy with my own stuff here in New Zealand. And I'm looking forward to Christmas, and a good Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to anyone who celebrates it. Anyone who doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter. I hope you have a lovely time with family or friends. Because around this time of the year, it only matters who you spend it with. For me, I am looking forward to spending it with my family. Because we've just recently moved to Christchurch City, a town here, city here in New Zealand. I will be spending it without having to worry about family members or anything. I don't get along well with my family members, anyone outside of my family at the moment, and that's just mainly down to what I am, by, and a lot of my family members are heavy Christians, and one of my uncles at the moment is not well liked by anyone in my family, because of his, behavior. Yep, so I will not be, I've been avoiding him and his kids. I don't like them. His kids, not his kids. Oh no, I like two of his kids. His adoptive, kids, ugh, just forget about them. Just forget about them. If there were two people I couldn't get along with, if there was a group of people I couldn't get along with, his kids are definitely one of them. And for me, it pisses me off because, you know, I want to spend Christmas with them. But every time I try to be, you know, hey, what up, guys? They'll be like, fudge off. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And so, you know, it'll be like, for me, whatever, I don't even bother caring anymore. So, you know. We'll turn that to heavy armor, because I do like heavy armor. Polish metal, misc. We're gonna go with Byrick. Let's give, let's see if we've got a full set of metal. We'll give the Brotherhood of Steel Paint. So, yep, a lot of people will probably go, oh, but Duncannuva, it's Christmas, you probably shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Just, I don't care. I believe that if you have a right to be treated, okay, railroad version. If you want to be treated nicely, then you'll treat anybody who you want to nicely. Not like you're going to treat them like absolute crap. And I, for one, believe that, that works both ways. And, oh, hey, I have a family member that is gay. And I went, oh, well, that's cool. I have a family member who's bi. And he's pretty cool. Yeah, there are times I wish I could punch him in the face, but, But, he's pretty cool. And for me, it's just like, his adoptive kids are just some of the most... Just go and check something real quick here. Okay, cool. Just checking that my microphone was still broadcasting my beautiful voice. Or my voice. Not beautiful. I am probably... how dare I? Yes, with the right leg, with the right left arm. So we're going to turn to butt rest. Mask, we're going to make it weighted. I do like having weighted. And we're going to exterminate a Raider's right arm. Nice! So we do have some parts for a Raiders group outfit. And I will be killing the Raiders in this walkthrough. Because, yeah, I don't like the Raiders in Nuka World, so they can die as hell. But all in hell. Brotherhood of Steel for this one. Anyway, as I was saying, with what has happened with me in the past, I have been, pretty a lot of my cousins, like, some of my cousins love me to bits, and I love them back as well, because they're amazing. My uncle, their father, I can just go. I can either take or I can leave them, and him, and ugh, don't even get me started on that, and it really does piss me off, because, like, he's one of these people who insists that he's right, and it pisses me off because, he's not. Oh, we have someone here. Nice. We'll have to put up a bed, though. Shit. Yeah, so no. And, with the recent crap that's happened in New Zealand, yes. Before I continue on, if you guys have been paying attention to the news recently, unfortunately, New Zealand has received a bit of a problem. A young backpacker from the UK was here in New Zealand. She was, excited, looking forward to spending time in New Zealand, and unfortunately joins one of the saddest lists I've ever seen. She was murdered by some prick, who basically thought, women are objects, and a news radio host who I 100% agree with, apologizes for all men that, it's because of what we've been rationalized to think. And allow me to basically get started is, it doesn't matter if you're a transvestite or identify or transgender. If you're a male, you were born with a set of balls and a penis. It doesn't matter what you are, what you identify as, because you still have those parts. They identify that you are in fact a male, and thus you fall under what I'm about to say. All men have been rationalized to think women are nothing more than objects. There will be times where men go, no, I don't. Yeah, you do, Jim. Yeah, you do, Jim. Or yeah, you do, George. Whether it be from mothers to sisters to whoever. Men have been, for hundreds of thousands of years, told that women are nothing more than objects to fight for. It is time that stopped. Women are just as equal as men. Yeah, there are some ancient cultures out there that, saw men as women and men as equals. Ancient Mongolians, Maori, A lot of Maori tribes. So on and so on. It pisses me off. Like, a full 101,000%. Pisses me off. Alright, cool, you listen. Cool.
You got a dangerous look about you. You ain't here for me.
I ain't. Do have 2 parts of that, and so if we go crafting. It is time we stopped that simple-mindedness, if you mean. Women are just as equal as men are, as men just as equal to women. Women give birth, men do a lot of other stuff, but it's just down to how we, as a species, have basically been told to view women and men. There is no over-sexualization of just women. It happens, but it's not just the women. Because it happens to men too, very buff, muscular men. Comments like, I don't care about that unless he's hung like a horse, need to stop. And vice versa, comments on a woman's tits will stop as well. And, you know, it don't matter who you are, what religion you are. If you don't stand up for, you know, something, you basically just forget about trying. Anyway, so let us continue on with Fallout 4. So, Fallout 4, for those of you who don't know, and by now I'm very surprised if you do know, is set after the events, 210 years after the events of the Atomic War. The war that destroyed the United States of America, the US, the US in full, Canada, most countries all over the world. Why? Because the US and China couldn't keep it in their hand, you know, couldn't keep it to themselves. Locksmith. Okay. So anyway. We get pocket as well. We get cat collector. Let's say, oh, toughness definitely. Normal mode pistols. We're gonna get medic as well because I like medic. Black Willow, compiler, men suffer +5 damage in combat. Awesome. One of the perks done as well. Alright, we'll get party girl as well. Let's see. Ooh, what else should we get? Oh, we'll get penetrator. And we will get... Oh. There's an explorer to get me. So that's good. Alright, so we've got some... Oh, shit. Cool, hasn't come up with that error. Actually, do I have any Daddy-O Extreme on me? You fudge off. So now we've got a whole bunch of perks that should make me a lot better. A bit of background about some of my characters in the Fallout franchise. We're going to start with Fallout 3.
Hey, boy. What are you doing out here all by yourself? You want to come with me, pal? Sure.
So with Fallout, well, of course we've got Fallout 3, I've got several different characters for different video games. For Fallout 3, I'm going to be selecting 2 characters. They are my Lone Wanderer, well, 3 characters. My Lone Wanderer, no, those 2 will reappear on something else. Lone Wanderer character called Sophie. She is the Chinese daughter of Catherine and James. Missed. Good doggo.
Hey, up here, on the balcony. The raiders are almost through the door. Grab that laser musket and help us, please.
Yeah, just let me finish looting all the bodies. Because Sophie is Chinese, a lot of people in Vault 101 did not like her. And because China was one of the many people at war with the US, a lot of people hated her. After completing and saving Megaton, wiping out the... causing a peace deal that would eventually backfire between Tenpenny Tower and the ghouls, eventually killing the leader of the ghouls for going back on his promise.
Man, let's just get the hell out of here. We got no reason to hang around and get shot. You're mine now, rookie.
Sophie would eventually leave the capital wasteland after fighting and helping the Brotherhood of Steel. Her status as Asian, however, would see her being hunted down by many would-be assassins, Enclave,
The hell was that?
and so on.
This is gonna be fun! Man, I don't know who you are, but your timing's impeccable. Preston Garvey, Commonwealth Minuteman. Maybe?
Glad to help.
Well, if that's true, we could use some more goodwill. As you can see, we're in a bit of a mess here.
Right? Please, go on.
A month ago, there were...
Sorry.
Thanks.
One good idea can make all...
Sturgis?
There's a crashed vertibird up on the roof.
So, Sophie eventually would set up a small base outside of the capital wasteland, not near the ruins of New York, where she would monitor the things there, the ghouls, the creatures there.
I like it.
Yeah, I thought you might. Protection with an added bonus. Get the suit. You can rip the minigun right off the vertibird. Do that, and those raiders get an express ticket to hell. You dig?
Oh.
Anyway, Sophie would eventually marry a farmer, would eventually save a boy.
You need a minute?
Actually?
Well, all right.
Sure. Careful, kid. Hell
We need help. Can we get a bolt roller? What are you going to do in that stupid jumpsuit? Bleed to death? Angry.
Sophie's sable of a young boy would be quite good, as she would raise him on how her father and mother had raised to her, and what she had learned from other parents in the vault. Unfortunately for Sophie, her son would grow up to be quite a different man. And her son knew exactly that she was Asian, mainly from the fact that, you know, her skin color was different. But because he was essentially Asian as well, he knew some Chinese.
Boss, we got somebody up here! Why don't you get down here? Show me that killing up close. Not a lot of people can get
Sophie's adopted son, who was called Jim, James in honor of her father, would learn of his mother's death when raiders attacked and killed her. This would send him on a rage that would eventually cause him to, well, after getting revenge on his mother, for his mother, he would marry her and continue on her legacy as a person who would help the Wasteland. The Brotherhood of Steel would learn of her passing after recontacting during the trip over, when they go past Boston and find the base still active. Yeah, so that was Sophie's life or death, and unfortunately because of her death, her research got cut short, but it didn't bother to her because all she knew is the way she had survived would be in her son. Jim. The adopted son of Sophie, or James, the adopted son of Sophie. He would be saved by Sophie at the age of 5, well, age of 6 actually, when he was being chased by super mutants who wanted to kill him and eat him. Sophie, armed with her combat rifle, managed to kill the super mutants, adopt the son, young boy, after learning that his family had been murdered by the super mutants, and would raise him up.
Fine, Preston. Quit fussing.
That was a pretty amazing display. I'm just glad you're on our side.
The feeling's mutual, Preston.
You can listen.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Well,
All right, Garvey. I'm in. Please, tell me. I knew it. Please.
Right. And even
Sure.
a great green.
Please, Mama Murphy.
Mama Murphy, we talked about this. Let's jump.
Anyway,
Preston's all gonna die eventually.
Sophie's son James would eventually learn of his mother's death when he was 22. His mother would be remembered in the form of a gun, her combat rifle, in which James would take and call Sophie. The heavily modified assault rifle, well, combat rifle, would become a symbol of the Wasteland and would eventually be used by him as he would assume the rank of knight and continue on his mother's rank in the Enclave Brotherhood of, the Brotherhood of Steel. Fallout New Vegas, and we've got 2 different couriers, as well as different characters. But before we do, non-playable characters of mine. Duncan and Yuka. These 2 are Brotherhood of Steel knights, and I'll be talking more about them in Fallout 4. Same with Delta, another character of mine. But one character who does appear in that is Jackson. Jackson was a smooth-talking Mr. Gutsy that was reprogrammed by a raider group to play jazz, but ended up becoming based off Michael Jackson. The robot would continually mention the King of Pop many years after the fact that, Michael Jackson had actually been killed. Was dead. This didn't bother the robot, because, well, Jackson didn't give a damn about, certain things, and this didn't put him on any good memberships with Sophie, or any Courier, or any Lone Wanderer, I mean. Jackson would meet his end when he was patrolling the when he was trying to leave the Capital Wasteland, in which he got shot by a very angry raider boss because, well, they'd learnt of him, and he wasn't too happy with the fact that this guy survived. Take all these stuffs, because, they're useful to sell. shell. So they do, it does spawn in legendaries. Oh yeah, no it is, see. Alright, well that's useful to know, because, I may or may not keep it, or may not, may or may not, so, yeah. Anyway! Jackson's death wouldn't actually be he wouldn't actually be missed by anyone. And the reason for that is because, well, Jackson actually pissed off, a lot of the couriers with a lot of his, indecent content, comments. Because of Jackson's death, not many people would actually miss him, and, yeah. Very few people would give a shit. In fact, Sophie would learn of his death, and all she'd have to say is good riddance to filth. And she would actually send a message to that raider boss saying, "Thank you for doing the wasteland a deed." Those were the people who appeared in Fallout of mine who would appear in Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas, partner. Fallout New Vegas is the Obsidian Entertainment game of the same name, in which you follow the courier, a man or woman, who has been pissed off because Benny shot him in the head. Please note, because Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 often allow for both male and female protagonists, I am only going to be doing one on the male protagonist, not the female protagonist. I can't really do much more than that, and there's only so much you can do. Trust me. I can only do so much. I can show you the world. Shining, glimmer, and amazing. If you want to have a goal. Yeah, I know what the problem is. Don't worry. Don't worry. I will plant more food. Head on me. And I'll have to get more beds done, so we'll need some gourds. And we'll need some melons. Can I play? No, I can't play some more fruit. Oh, what I can do, however, is I can go down to... Yeah, I can put a hunting station now. I'm gonna do that, actually. Yeah, so... With that being stated, yeah. We have a lot of problems with Mojave Wasteland. It is a very, very tough place to live. And it doesn't help that the fact that a lot of the time, a lot of people are often bitching about it. And by the way, if you know my official opinion about it, you know that I don't like Fallout New Vegas that much. You need to Fallout 3. It's just my views. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. Anyway, as I was saying, just scrap all these loose weaponry. Probably am going to move you elsewhere. Can I? No, I can't. Alright, well. We're going to put a couple of hunting stations down here. 1, 2. We're going to put down one of these up over there. Oh. Perfect. Alright, well, we need to put down more beds, so we're gonna make a bunkhouse. Yeah, so a little bit sorry. With Fallout 76, with that, I should be getting actually in the start, but no, I'm not. We're going to turn that over and travel up there to the bunkhouse. And I'll talk to Gravy Train in a moment. So, Fallout New Vegas. My career is going to be a male. His name is Hans Krieg. Hans is a bit of an odd person, as his family descends from what was Germany. Were Germanic, and the only reason he remembers that, the fact that they were German, was because his mother and father kept a lot of the German literature around. Unfortunately for a young Hans, he would find stuff made by none other than Adolf Hitler, an Austrian man who had taken over Germany in 1939, 1938, well, in the 1930s, and caused one of the worst human catastrophes ever, World War II. Hans would be swayed by the Austrian dictator's words. Would actually see people of a certain ethnicality as lesser than him. This meant basically he didn't like ghouls, he didn't like anything. And this just would add to his racism. He was a very racist person, and Benny hated him. Because he was also a hell of a charismatic person. That's right. I'm playing off that stereotype. Sorry, Germany! Please forgive me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean. But no, as I was saying, Hans would eventually be shot in the head by Benny because, well, Benny was jealous of him, and yep, you all know that story. Eventually, though, Benny would bite the dust. Another one bites the dust. When Hans rolled up into the tops and pulled out a German Mauser pistol. A pistol that his father owned. And Hans' father did not like Benny. He actually didn't like anyone in the Tops casino. Or anyone, any of the casinos. And Benny would be blamed for the death of, well, Hans' father. At the end, after killing that, he did not like Mr. House at all. And so he sided with Yes Man to get rid of Mr. House. Why? Because, well, that's the way the casino floors. Please note, this is one of my Xbox, isn't one, actually one of my characters. It is called, I have named a lot of them after Toho characters and such. But, yeah, this is one of the characters I will be making in the near future. Hans's anger and animosity towards, ghouls, super mutants, often lead him to make quite racist comments. And after completing basically everything, surviving the horrors of the Sierra Madre, and everything else, Hans's death would actually be at the hands of a super mutant and ghoul group. Actually, no, it wouldn't be, but Hans wouldn't actually be mutated. Why? A whole bunch of super mutants and a whole bunch of ghouls got angry at him, along with Nightkin. Kidnapped him from the Lucky 38 at night, and mutated him with radiation into a ghoul. Which would eventually change Hans's views on the ghouls, and he would apologize to them and eventually work to forgive himself as the way he should have. Hans would eventually get his forgiveness from the ghouls, and he would never do stuff like this again. But he would still keep the words of Adolf Hitler true by eventually forming the Ghoul Mutant Reich, believing that they had a lot of harder time. It actually turns out that they didn't mutate him fully with, well, mutation, and Hans could actually heal himself with enough Radaway, to which he did, reversing the mutations due to Fallout 76. And yeah, Hans, however, would keep his Ghoul Mutant Reich up, taking anybody who was wronged by humanity, and he would fight for them, which was something a lot of ghouls and super mutants did join up with. This new faction would be formed in what was the former states of Wyoming, well, actually quite a far distance away. They would be kicked out of Nevada, and they would march northwards, acquiring any ghouls, super mutants, and other mutants who had been wronged by humanity and his and their bigotry. Non-playable characters. Well, we've got Duncan the Deathclaw. This is, by the way, an abbreviation, so it's you know, like that. Duncan was a Deathclaw creation forced upon the world by the Legion. The Legion wanted to be able to tame a lot of Deathclaws like the Enclave had. But unlike the Enclave, didn't want to run the risk of mutating them because, well, that wouldn't work. So instead, they kidnapped a Brotherhood of Steel scientist who was a former Enclave scientist who had joined the Brotherhood of Steel named Dr. Antony. Dr. Antony would be killed throughout the process by starving himself to death in order to do the research on the Enclave for the, well, Legion. His death would eventually piss off the Deathclaw head that was selected for it, a very large alpha male that was called Duncan, because Scotland, as a jab to the former Scottish king, one that had actually pissed off the
Welcome back, Mum. I do hope you would
English.
find some assistance in Congo.
You could say that?
Hard help, I realize.
Yes, of course.
Lead the way.
Codsworth tolerates you. Fantastic. It's easy to get his research up. You just do good things, so we'll be doing a lot of quests for people. Anyway, no, as I was saying, Duncan would eventually break free and kill the Legion there, and eventually would go into the Mojave Wasteland, eventually helping the courier. He didn't actually help Hans. Hans never got to meet Duncan because, well, Duncan wasn't actually created during that one. At that time, he was actually freed because Hans left the Mojave Wasteland before the Battle of Hoover Dam. But Hans would return and help fight the Battle of Hoover Dam with his forces. Anyway, Duncan would fight alongside another courier by the name of Alexia. Alexia was a lot more nicer than Hans was, but yeah, Alexia would eventually gain an independent New Vegas, free from the evil of the NCR and the evils of the Legion. Duncan would have had enough with humanity, including, but not limited to, Alexia, because Alexia was very, very xenophobic, and Duncan was not. The Deathclaw left with a whole bunch of other Deathclaws, stating that the Mojave Wasteland was not even perfect for them, and that all the Deathclaws agree would follow him after he defeated the Alpha. After Duncan did so, the Deathclaws would move and eventually would form a tribe with other Deathclaws, including winged and other variants, up very far up north. So yeah, that is some of the characters in Fallout New Vegas who would appear in Fallout, who don't reappear. Next, we've got the ones who appeared in Fallout 4, including my two Soul Survivor characters, as well as characters who did not appear at all. So, let's kick it off, shall we? Oh, my arm! Sorry, guys. I had to quit my arm.
I'm glad you decided to come with us. I should have listened to my...
Yeah, I used to like living here.
What do you mean?
I lived here over 200 years. I was...
Oh, you did. Let's go to that.
You say you were...
Sure. Just my son.
Anyway, I am glad you're here.
Yeah, that's always fun when that happens. We just back up a bit and then forward. Spin around. You okay, Gravy?
Hope you don't
Gravy!
mind. But
Yeah,
I
here
have
we
a
go.
favor to ask. I've had word the only chance trouble is.
I'd be glad to help.
That's fantastic. By the way,
Like I said, we will do a lot of missions. Let's see, we've got all of these missions, so we're going to complete all of these missions that we've got in a bit, but I'm just going to finish talking about the characters I've got, so, yep. Mama Murphy, what the bloody hell? I quit. I quit. Right his right leg. Anyway, so yeah. Fallout 4 is the more recent one. It has a lot of different things that are added into the game. First of all, we're going to cut off with two of my different characters. We have got Karga, the character I'm currently playing as. A former mother and lover of all, she was very devastated when her husband was shot and her son was killed. By the way, minor spoilers for people who have not played Fallout 4's main DLC. Although really, if you haven't, I'm quite surprised that you have even clicked onto this video and saw that one. Karga's would be thrown into quite a bad depression, not believing that the world she once knew was the same as the world she had just witnessed several years, only several moments ago. But unfortunately for her, it would be. Karga would be thrown quite badly into the depression well. Because of this, it would cripple. It would nearly kill. It would get so bad that she would nearly take her own life. Eventually stopped by Preston Garvey, Codsworth, and even Dogmeat. Eventually though, for Karga, she would eventually find the determination in trying to find her son when Preston Garvey mentioned that how her son needs her. Karga would eventually use this as a reason to fuck time. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you know Cooper, thank you once up here on, and good night.